Peace is declared. The soldiers go home. The nation, they say, is finally sovereign again. This is the official story. It is also a carefully constructed fiction. Wars do not need soldiers to control. A nation anymore does stay. Because what you are about to see is how freedom is surrendered, how futures are annexed, and how the most powerful weapon of modern conflict is not a bomb, but a balance sheet. The final ceremony is a global spectacle. The peace treaty signed under flashbulbs. The last convoy of troops rolling across a border. The headlines shift from the front page to the history section. The world observes a neat narrative arc. Conflict, climax, resolution. We are made to believe that the application of power has ceased, that the victors and the vanquished have settled their accounts.
The
that
world
the story
observes
is
a
definitively
neat narrative arc.
This
Conflict,
belief is the first
climax,
and most necessary
resolution.
illusion. It allows the world to look away. It allows the corporations to rebrand. It allows the banks to reposition. The battlefield falls silent, but in the distant capitals of global finance. A different sort of machinery, far quieter, far more precise words to life. The war ends on paper. In the realm of assets and liabilities, it is merely entering its most lucrative phase. The country is a physical and economic carcass. Its bridges are in the river. Its power grid is a memory. Its currency is worthless paper. The immediate need is not for victory, but for survival. Water, electricity, order. From this desperation, a solution emerges, clad not in camouflage, but in the impeccable tailoring of statesmen and financiers. International consortiums are formed. Emergency financing facilities are activated. The language is one of solidarity, of rebuilding, of a hand-up. The loans and aid packages are presented not as transactions, but as moral obligations of the global community. The lifeline is not a gift. It is a leash. The initial emergency funds are often just enough to stabilize a crisis, not to solve it. They are designed to create dependency, not independence. They are the first dose in a long-term treatment plan where the patient never fully recovers, but remains forever indebted to the pharmacy. This is where math becomes controlled. The loan documents, thousands of pages long, are where true sovereignty is relinquished. The interest rates are just the beginning. The covenants, the conditions are the real mechanism of power. Policy covenants. The borrowing nation may be required to slash its public sector, privatize its state-owned industries often at fire sale prices to foreign buyers, and deregulate its markets to allow unrestricted capital flow. Procurement covenants. The money cannot be spent locally to stimulate the domestic economy. It must be used to hire approved international engineering firms, purchase materials from specific global suppliers, and employ costly foreign consultants. The reconstruction money immediately cycles out of the country, leaving behind infrastructure and an invoice. Prioritization, covenants, debt servicing is given legal priority over all other state expenditures. This means that before a single teacher or doctor is paid, before a single road is repaired, the payment to the foreign creditor must be made. The national budget becomes a collection agency for external debt. This is the invisible occupation. It requires no boots on the ground, only auditors in the ministry. No checkpoints, only quarterly reviews. The garrison is made of spreadsheet cells and legal clauses. Let us follow the capital. The destruction has created a multi-trillion-dollar market, and it is meticulously divided. The arms sellers, their initial contract concludes, but a new, evergreen one begins. The military must be
The
reconstituted
reconstruction
for
money
future stability.
immediately cycles
Outdated
out of the
equipment
country,
is replaced
leaving
with newer,
behind
more
infrastructure
sophisticated
and an
more
invoice.
expensive systems. The
Prioritization
war may end,
covenants.
but the
Debt
security
servicing
contract
is
is
given
perpetual.
legal priority
The
over all
reconstruction
other
conglomerates.
state expenditures.
This is the core of Phase
This
2
means
profit.
that before a single
Closed-loop
teacher
contracts
or
are
doctor
awarded for
is
rebuilding
paid,
energy,
before a
transport,
single
and
road is
communication
repaired,
networks.
the payment
These
to
are
the
often
foreign creditor
cost-plus
must be
contracts,
made.
guaranteeing a
The
profit
national
margin
budget
regardless of
becomes a
overruns.
collection
The
agency
risk is
for
socialized
external
onto the
debt.
debtor nation.
This is the
The profit is
invisible
privatized to the
occupation.
corporation.
It
The
requires
resource
no
extractors
boots on the
with
ground,
the government desperate
only
for cash flow.
auditors in the ministry.
Long-term leases for mines,
No
oil
checkpoints,
fields, and
only
ports are
quarterly
negotiated at terms
reviews.
massively favorable
The
to the
garrison
foreign
is
entity.
made of
The
spreadsheet
nation's
cells
natural wealth
and
is used
legal
as collateral
clauses.
for its survival.
Let us
Often
follow the
stripped away
capital.
for generations.
The
The
destruction
permanent
has
lenders,
created
the
a
banks, and
multi-trillion-dollar
bondholders secure an
market,
asset
and it
that
is
will generate
meticulously
returns for half a
divided.
century.
The
More
arms
importantly,
sellers,
they gain
their
profound
initial contract
geopolitical leverage.
concludes, but a
A
new
single threat of a
evergreen
credit
one
downgrade can
begins.
force a nation to change
The
its
military
foreign
must
policy.
be
Its
reconstituted
trade
for
alliances,
future
its
stability.
votes in international
Outdated
bodies.
equipment
We
is
have seen this
replaced with
exact
newer,
architecture
more
replicated,
sophisticated
with
and
minor
more
variations
expensive
in multiple
systems.
post-conflict
The
regions
war
over
may
the past
end,
3 decades.
but the security
It is not an
contract
accident.
is perpetual.
It is a blueprint.
The
Forget abstract
reconstruction
numbers.
conglomerates.
The algorithm
This
of
is
debt
the
runs
core
on
of
human
Phase 2
lives.
profit.
Meet a hypothetical
Closed-loop
citizen, let's
contracts
call
are
her
awarded for
Alina.
rebuilding
She is a
energy,
doctor in a newly
transport,
rebuilt
and
hospital. The
communication
hospital was
networks.
constructed by a foreign firm. Its gleaming facade was paid for by Loan Package 4. To qualify for that loan, her government agreed to freeze public sector wages for 5 years. Alina's salary has not moved, but the cost of food and fuel has tripled due to inflation from a devalued currency. A devaluation encouraged to make the country's debt exports cheaper too. Serviced at the hospital lacks basic medicines because the health ministry's budget was cut by 30% to meet the latest IMF repayment tranche. Alina treats children for malnutrition, a condition stemming from poverty that is directly exacerbated by the austerity measures she hears about on the news. She is treating the symptoms of a financial instrument. Here's what makes this system impossible to escape. The war Alina lived through lasted for 7 years. The debt it created has a maturity of 40. Her children will be paying it off. They will come of age in a country where the most important decisions, how many teachers to hire, how much to invest in clean water, are not made by their elected officials, but by the actuarial calculations of distant credit committees. They will inherit a geography of peace, but a psychology of perpetual obligation. A nation can rebuild its buildings from rubble, but it cannot rebuild its ambition under a perpetual financial siege. This forces a fundamental and deeply uncomfortable reevaluation of what we call peace. If the economic and political destiny of a nation is decisively shaped for 2 generations by the USA financial deals struck in its moment of maximum ruin, then what was the true objective of the conflict? Was the military victory merely the means to create the preconditions for this financial annexation? Is the peace treaty not the end of hostilities, but the charter document for a new, more efficient form of economic colonization? When the profits from the post-war period dwarf the profits from the war itself, where does our definition of the war actually end? The silence after the gunfire is not the silence of peace. It is the silence of terms being dictated. It is the silence of a trap being sprung. Before you answer the final question, understand this: your answer defines your view of modern power. It decides whether you see the last 50 years of global history as a story of liberation or of liquidation. So, one question for you. A simple binary. Yes or no? When a nation's sovereignty is exercised within borders drawn by a creditor, is that sovereignty real? Think about it. We have been looking for the New World Order in treaties and alliances. We should have been looking in the bond markets. The most powerful armies in the world no longer march. They mature in 30 years. And they always collect. Budget was slashed for austerity. His taxes, deducted from his meager stipend, don't pave his street. They are wire transferred across an ocean to service a loan he never signed. His physical war ended with a bang. His financial war is a slow,
rebuild its
suffocating
buildings
squeeze.
from rubble, but
This
it
is the
cannot
emotional
rebuild
reality.
its ambition under
Citizens
a
pay
perpetual
taxes for
financial
decades,
siege.
not for their future, but for their past. Their labor feeds a debt they did not incur. Inflation eats their savings. The currency weakens. Poverty deepens, not from bombs, but from engineered economic imprisonment. Society is kept in fragile recovery, never allowed to truly thrive because its surplus is perpetually claimed. This creates the most bitter generational injustice. One generation fights the physical war. They bear the visible scars. They are heroes or victims. But the next generation, their children and grandchildren, are sentenced to pay for it. They inherit a nation that is physically rebuilt, but economically shackled. Their dreams are downsized at birth. They are born into indentured servitude to a global financial system. Asterisk, asterisk, the war killed the parents. The debt enslaves the children. Asterisk, asterisk, this is not a metaphor. It is the lived experience from the Balkans to the Middle East. The war is a headline.
Before you answer
debt
the
is an
final
heirloom.
question,
So we
understand
ask
this.
the necessary question.
Your answer
If wars
defines
truly
your
ended,
view of modern
Why
power.
do the same companies keep earning for decades? Why do arms manufacturers show steady post-conflict growth? Why do reconstruction funds outperform the market?
So, one
The answer is
question
clear.
for you.
Our
A
definition of
simple
war
binary,
is naive.
Yes or
We
no?
define it by
When
violent
a
combat
nation's
and ignore its
sovereignty is
economic
exercised
architecture.
within borders
The
drawn
battlefield
by
is
a
the opening
creditor,
bid.
is that
The real
sovereignty
auction
real?
is in the conference
Think
rooms.
about it.
This system
We have
is
been
not a
looking
bug.
for the new
It is a
world
feature.
order in
The
treaties
logical
and
endpoint of
alliances.
monetized conflict.
We should have been
Peace
looking
here
in the
is
bond
simply a
markets.
rebranding of the revenue
The
stream
most
from selling
powerful
bullets to
armies in the
selling
world
blueprints.
no longer march.
From
They
tanks to
mature
treasury
in
bonds.
30 years,
The players
and
remain.
they always collect